Hey guys, this is the second video in a series about how to get out of each ELO bracket. If you haven't seen my video on how to get out of Iron, go watch that. It'll be in the top right. The concepts that we are going to talk about in this video will be directly building off the ideas that we went over in that video. My name is Snowta, and if you want to get better at League of Legends and get to the rank you want, then consider subscribing. The first concept we talked about in the Iron video is farming. And I know that can seem boring, and you already know that you need to get more farm, get some more last hits and some CS. CS, if you don't know, is the amount of minions that you have killed in that game. But this is the most important and most foundational part of this game. This game is snowballing, and if you are relying on random events occurring in some of your games to get kills or to get gold, then you are bound to be hard stuck. The most consistent way to climb, especially out of bronze, is to give yourself consistent gold income so that you'll always have an advantage over your opponents. Most players in bronze struggle to get 45 CS by 10 minutes. So if you can get somewhere between 65 and 75, you will have a gold difference of 2 kills. Imagine being ahead 2 kills without actually getting one. That's amazing, and if you can consistently do that, you'll be really well off. And if you do this well, it'll lead you getting more kills, which means more gold. So start off your games with the goal to farm well and last hit those minions at an 80% success rate so that you can steadily grow your gold lead over 10, 20, 50 games, getting yourself out of bronze. But I want to build on this concept and talk about denying CS. Your lane opponent is likely super nervous in lane, they're in bronze, they're trying to rank up just like you do, and they're a little scared to make a mistake. So if you start to watch the health bars of your own minions, you can predict when they will walk up to last hit them. When they do, it's a perfect opportunity for you to auto them or even drop a full combo to punish them for going for that CS. If you do this successfully in bronze, I can assure you that your lane counterpart will think that you're insane at this game and give up dozens and dozens of CS because they're afraid that they're gonna die if they go into last hit. This is a free CS lead, and all you did was punish them for going for one. So start off by getting good at farming. You can do this in the practice tool or in normal games, and then once you have this down to muscle memory and it's natural for you, then start to watch your own minions, and when they get low, learn kind of the range and the tethering of when you can walk up and punish your opponent when they're moving at you. They're going to be focused on last hitting that minion, which gives you a small window to get some damage down. This is also a great way to set up some all-ins because you know players are hungry to get the CS, especially the cannon minions. They will risk their life to go up and last hit that cannon minion, so use it as an opportunity to kill them. This is kind of the framework we are using in this video and in this series. We start with one fundamental and then build upon it. I also want to quickly mention that according to the ranked distribution, most bronze players are actually bronze 2 or bronze 1, which means that y'all are really close to hitting silver, and just focusing on farming and building a healthy gold lead in your games is enough to get you to silver. But if you want to improve your game even more to climb faster, then make sure you keep watching. So even though you escaped Iron, or maybe you were never there to begin with, the shopkeeper is still OP in bronze and constantly crushes the silver dreams of many low elo players by selling them the wrong items. I know this never happens to you, but follow with me. This game is complex, and they just totally overhauled the entire item lineup, and they're still making some changes and fine-tuning the items, so I know it can be confusing on what is actually the best build on a certain champion in a specific matchup or a specific team composition. In future videos on higher brackets, I'll talk more about diversification with items and how to adapt, but in bronze, so many players are making mistakes with their items that if you consistently build right on your champion with that gold lead we just talked about, you'll fly out of bronze in no time. There are a ton of resources online to find the best build, and my recommendation changes based on your rank, but if you're bronze, I recommend that you just go to op.gg, click on the champion you're playing, and then build the most popular items in the most common order. This is the most consistent way to keep up with the meta without having to always figure out what in the world is the best build. A secondary option is to download blitz.gg. There's a setting to auto-import the most common rune set, but as a side note, I recently uninstalled this program. It would auto-import a rune set that could technically work, but was not optimal to the meta or the matchup I was in, and I wouldn't notice until just before champion select was over. I would have to quickly make a new rune page based on what I actually wanted. In bronze, this doesn't really matter and can be a big help during champion select, but once you get to silver and gold, I recommend learning the correct runes, and we'll talk about situational rune picks later. The third thing you need to do to get out of bronze is to team fight properly. And there are a ton of different elements to this, but first and foremost, we need to use our HUD and see if our team has all of our ultimates. I still play in diamond games where I come out of a team fight and then right away my team wants to go back in and fight when 4 of us don't have our ultimates. Ultimate abilities can literally win games, and you don't want to pick a fight if your team doesn't have their ultimates available. So when you're prepping for a team fight, make sure that you wait this out and either stall so that everyone has full utility, Or you can think about potentially giving a tower or dragon if your team doesn't have the abilities needed in order to win that fight. Along with checking for ultimates, you want to make sure that you have every member of your team in a fight, or that at least you have a champion advantage. If your ADC is farming at your bot tier 2 tower, then you probably don't want to Malphite ulti at the enemy red buff because the other team will be able to draw all 5 members to the fight before your team will be able to. And uneven fights happen all of the time in low elo, so make sure you have a champion advantage before engaging, and if you don't, then spam ping your team away from that fight. Another way that you can ensure that this happens is to prep for dragon fights. I don't know what it is, but every League of Legends player has a fascination over every dragon spawn when the only one that matters is the soul point, but that's a conversation for another day. In bronze, you'll want to make sure that your team is aware of the dragon spawning about 60 seconds before it does so that they can push their waves, recall, buy, and get to the pit on time. So be the IGL and keep track of the timer on the dragon and ping it 60 seconds before it spawns. You can easily do this by pressing tab and then clicking on the dragon spawner at the top of the screen. You should also aim to get to the dragon 30 seconds before to put your control ward down, which you are totally buying if you don't have one on the map, right? And help your jungler and support get vision control. If your team gets to an objective early, you are in the driver's seat of whatever fight is about to take place. The other team will likely not be coordinated enough to walk in together, so you can get so many picks and free objectives by just getting to dragon 30 seconds before it spawns. Trust me, try this out in a couple of games and let me know how it goes. The fourth thing you need to do to get out of bronze is to completely understand your champion. I don't care if you main a Philios or a Mumu. Make sure that you know how to pilot that champion. I recently did a coaching session with my friend Iron Brian, and he understood the basic concepts like warding and objective control, but he struggled with piloting his champion to the point where he couldn't think about other elements of the game because he was trying to get a basic combo off. If you are in bronze, I truly believe that if you learn how to pilot your champion and then slowly apply the other concepts in this video, you can get all the way up to gold. Don't tell the silvers this, but silver and high bronze are basically the same rank, so if you get this stuff down, you'll totally have a shot to get gold within the season. And to get a little bit more specific about piloting your champion, I mean that you know every single spell combo so that you can focus on winning your trades and your fights instead of having to figure out what your abilities do on the fly. Now, you don't need to understand Yasuo's Keyblade, Airblade, 90 crank combo in order to get out of bronze. That's just distracting. But you'll want your champion to be an extension of your hands so that you can play the game through that champion. You'll be able to start learning the other elements of the game like objective control, rotations, jungle tracking, vision control, wave management. High elo players got to where they are because they understood the champions they play so that they could free up brain space to learn the other minute aspects of the game. This is why I recommend one-tricking so much in low elo, because it frees you up to actually learn the other elements of the game through the eyes of that champion. In plat games and higher, I think a little variation in your champion pool can be healthy to counter certain matchups and complement your team composition. But in low elo, especially in bronze, guys, that doesn't matter at all. And you can take complete advantage of this by picking a champion and then learning how to play them to the point that you don't even think about what you're doing. Oh, my opponent overextended, let me dump all of my abilities on them to secure the kill. Oh, there's a fight at a red, let me find their most fed characters so I can flash combo them to give my team an edge in that fight. There are many videos on YouTube that will go over the basic combos you need to know on a champion, and then you can go to the practice tool, make them all muscle memory, and then start applying them to your games. You should also learn how to wall hop on champions with movement ability so that you can rotate quicker. Champions like Echo, Kiana, and Yasuo have semi-difficult wall hops that, when learned, mean you can get to a fight 5 seconds faster, which could decide the fight. This game is a game of inches, and once you master your champion, you can start adding inch by inch to really round out your game. But if you learn nothing else from this video, master a champion and make everything they do muscle memory. I don't care if this means learning all of the different taunts so you can kill your enemy after a solo kill, just master a champion because that can give you an edge to jump from bronze all the way to gold, plat, and diamond. You guys can do this. Once you get out of bronze, come back and check out my video on how to get out of silver, where we'll start to get a little bit more advanced and talk about jungle tracking, wave control, and build adaptation to kind of build on the champion knowledge you've established. Thanks for watching.